which looks at the use of drought-tolerant or native plant species, the implementation of sustainable gardening practices such as composting and water conservation, the inclusion of pollinator-friendly plants, provision of habitats for wildlife, the strategic use of rocks or other materials to control erosion and manage rain runoff, and the consideration of other environmentally conscious factors. So with that, we will move on to the winners. So first up is our beautification residential category. And first is Robert and Linda Spittler of 465 Marlville Drive. So,
you want to shake Mary's hand, and then Nicole has a gift for you. Come on down this way. There you go. That's good. Yeah. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Here's a
beautiful
lawn ornament for your
Congratulations, my
lawn.
friend. Oh, it's nice.
And then I'll get a picture.
Here you go. That makes it official.
And then you guys all want to get together with your picture in the background. Tim, go ahead and get in. Ready? Everybody look up here. 1, 2, 3. Wonderful. Congratulations.
So you can see
Beautiful.
how beautiful gardens look.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you for the tour of your beautiful garden.
Is that dramatic?
Oh,
Yeah.
Like the hydrangeas.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
All right, and next is Marla Lemlin of 599 Rosemont.
Congratulations. This is for you.
Thank you very
How
much.
many awards is this for? Yeah. 4 or 5? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right, if everybody can kind of get together. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Beautiful
Well
pictures
deserved.
on the screen.
Next is Jamie Soronsky of 748 Lambkins.
Congratulations. Of course.
Congratulations.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Cool. All right. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Great work.
And for our businesses category, the winner was Lily's Flowers. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to make it tonight, but Sunshine will be delivering her. All right, and for our last category of native and sustainable, the winner is Terry Branoff and Jorge Guzman de Branoff of 303 North Harris.
Congratulations, my friend. Congratulations. You're doing good. Congratulations. Great job. All right, gentlemen.
Got it? All right. Here we go. Right. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you. And then for the award winners, if we can go, I'd love to get a picture of everybody out in the hallway so that way the meeting can continue, and I'll come back and join it, and we'll come on out and I'll get a picture of everybody, okay? Thank you. And with our parks commissioners, you can join us as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what we're going to be talking about, we're talking
We'll take a brief pause while Councilmember Rice takes a photo as the council liaison to the Parks Commission. And again, congratulations to all of our winners, all of the nominees, and we appreciate the work of our Parks Commission in evaluating the applications and then deciding the winners. That's great.
evening.
Did you have a good birthday?
It was yesterday.
I know. Was it a good? Did you have a good day?
Yeah, it was a good day.
That's
Go to Dan's for dinner?
Yeah, I did. And Sleep Fiber showed up too yesterday.
Well, that's nice.
How many pieces of cake did you
I don't know how much.
have? Stop counting.
Yeah.
What'd you have for dinner at Dan's?
Oh, American Burger?
Is that your go-to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go.
I need the clapper. Just make them all move.
Okay, friends, we will proceed with the remainder of our agenda. Next up is the consent portion of tonight's agenda. The following consent agenda will normally be adopted without discussion. However, at the request of any citizen or council member, any item may be removed from the consent agenda for discussion.
Move as submitted.
Moved by Gearbaugh to approve as submitted. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Lesh. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda as submitted signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. The motion carries unanimously. We move on to new business, and we have only one enumerated action item this evening. It is agenda item 25-180, resolution to accept public roads for Maple Oaks development. This will be a motion to acknowledge receipt and to approve or not to approve the dedication of land for public street purposes and to adopt or to not to adopt resolution number 25-180 for Maple Oaks Court.
Move to acknowledge.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Dillon, simply to acknowledge, and seconded by Councilmember Gearbaugh. City Manager Swallow, would you want to begin this evening, or should we hand it over to Engineer Humphreys?
We can hand it over to Engineer Humphreys. This is just the next step in the dedication of the road, so fairly straightforward procedure. You've seen these before, but I'll turn over to the engineer.
Very good. Thank you for your time this evening, Engineer Humphreys. And I do want to acknowledge we do have a number of residents from the neighborhood present. We did receive a communique from them, I think earlier today, which maybe you can reference in your remarks. The floor is yours.
Okay, yeah, I'm following what City Manager Swallow said. This is just the formal dedication of the roads that were always intended to be public in Maple Oaks. This development, I think, got started maybe in 2017, so this is a long time coming. The residents have supported this in a motion at their HOA meeting about a year ago in December of 2024. So again, yeah, this is just the next step in the process. So I guess I'll open the floor for questions.
Very good. Are there questions for the city engineer? Mayor Pro Tem Dillon?
Thank you. Engineer Humphreys, just asking that I think there were some steps that we were waiting on. Were all those tasks completed in order to now accept the road?
I guess I don't know what steps you're referring to. Are you at like the?
It seemed like we had a list. There were several items that they had not complied with.
The developers?
Yes.
So when I inherited the project, yes, there was an outstanding punch list with both the public and private infrastructure. All of the public infrastructure punch list has been addressed by the developer, which is what this is referring to, the acceptance of the public roads.
Thank you. And then one other question is, do you know the status of the brownfield issue with that property?
I can answer that.
Go ahead. And I think you wanted to make a comment per Mayor Pro Tem Dillon's first question as well, so please.
Yeah, so in terms of the brownfield, the Washington County Brownfield Authority is still holding some funds because there are still some cleanup items on the site that are not fully complete. If you look at the parcel just to the north there, beyond the railroad tracks, there was some spoil that was left there. And so we have required that they do some testing to make sure that the spoils are clean, as well as some fine grading of that area to make sure that that area is cleaned up prior to request and release of the brownfield funds. So there's about I believe 49,000 roughly being held by the Brownfield Authority until that is completed.
And is there a time frame associated with that? Because I feel like that's been sort of hanging on for quite a while.
Re-notified and provided by a letter from community development specifying what needs to be done prior to the release of those funds.
Thank you.
Additional questions for city staff? Okay, we have a motion on the floor moved by Gearbaugh, seconded by, moved by Dillon, second. Before I proceed to take a vote, I actually do have a question. My apologies. We have one resident here who has experienced some ongoing water issues in their home. What is the status of our approach, which has been constructive engagement with the developer to see about getting those issues or mitigating those issues?
I guess the next step in that process is a meeting with our attorney, that resident, coming here in early December.
Okay. But we are making some forward momentum.
Yes.
Okay. The plan. Okay.
We are talking, yes, our attorneys are meeting, yes.
Okay, very good. Just want to make sure that that ball is still in motion. We have a motion on the floor, moved by Dillon, seconded by Gearbaugh to acknowledge receipt. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, the motion carries unanimously. Is there a motion now to approve or not to approve, adopt or not to adopt?
Move to approve and adopt.
Moved by Lesh to approve and adopt, and Rice, do you want to second that motion? Okay. Is there any additional discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, the motion carries unanimously. We move on to the, thank you, Engineer Humphreys. We appreciate your time this evening and your leadership on the issue. We move on to the discussion portion of our agenda. First up is reports and other announcements, including updates from boards, commissions, committees, and task forces. I believe that the last meeting I started with Councilmember Harmount, so I'll begin this evening with Councilmember Lesh, and then Councilmember Rice, and I will wrap it up.
Just a meeting coming up for Arts and Culture on Thursday.
Very good. Mayor Pro Tem Dillon?
Thank you. The Cable Commission, I just wanted to inform the community that we are still experiencing an outage with our local cable access channel. Right now, they've identified where the fiber break is. The permitting is in place, so they're just sort of working through the process to get that up and running. In the meantime, all of the city's meetings, community meetings, and school meetings are on YouTube, and you can actually watch those on demand, so you can pick and choose what you want in your own time frame. And then also the Urban County Committee met earlier this week, and as the weather starts to turn, they're going to be opening warming centers, and there'll be some more information about that coming out. We are also still working through some of the aspects of changing the funding model for the funding distribution model, I should say. And we'll be getting some input from this body, I think, shortly. And again, thank you to the Urban County and the county in general for stepping out and coming into Saline to support the residents of Thorncrest and offering them some information about options available.
Very good. Councilmember Gearbaugh, reports, announcements, updates from boards, committees, commissions, or task forces?
We had, the only thing we had met with asset management last Friday, and a number of items we were discussing, some of it mainly being the issue that we're looking at a new type of software to help with the vertical tracking of, help me Dan, the vertical inventory of our assets and everything at the wastewater.
Vertical is the software we're looking at. It's basically designed for asset management to track all maintenance on equipment as well as other features. And again, it is more the vertical assets, the equipment at the water and wastewater treatment plants.
Currently, our existing workflow software doesn't necessarily work for that at the wastewater treatment plant. So since we're putting in a new operations, we want to be able to make sure that we have the best, or hopefully this will be the software solution for it. The other thing is, just to let council know, the administrative consent order will likely require an additional extension to it. So that'll be, Dan will be working with Eagle in order to get that moving forward as the project nears its completion, hopefully next year. And other than that, I just wanted to let everyone know the Historical Society requested of the HDC this past week the removal of the existing deck that's on the depot. Over the years, it has really deteriorated, and from the perspective of it was never really original with the depot, and because of the cost and the kind of renovation and what would need to be done with it would be significant. We're looking to have it removed so we can just maintain the handicap ramp to it, and then hopefully in the next year or two, if through a grant, we can put a better patio type situation on the back of the depot.
Very good. Councilmember Rice.
Over the weekend, I volunteered to host a forum, and I want to thank Police Chief Radzik and Washtenaw County Sheriff Alicia Dyer for speaking with community members about knowing their rights and understanding their rights as it relates to immigration and interactions with the police. And I want to thank the Saline Library for opening up the community space for conversations like that. If anyone is looking for a great community space, the Saline Library has an awesome new facility that holds, I believe, up to about 60 people. So it was really wonderful for folks to take their time, volunteer their time to have those conversations with the community. And as the representative to diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility in the city of Saline, I'm always proud of us for hosting those kinds of conversations. And I look forward to revamping that group in the year to come to, hopefully continue to have those types of conversations across the community. As for that, tomorrow are all of my commission meetings. Parks Commission's continuing to work on putting together a proposal of recommendations for upgrades to Mill Pond Park. And the group is doing a fantastic job and really doing some great research. And our on-hand architect, Jim Peters, has done a great job of some renderings for us. So really using all the skills that we have on that commission to put something together for council to take a look at as we move to upgrade that park in the future.
Very good, thank you. Just two things. Mayor Pro Tem Dillon mentioned a meeting with Thorncrest residents at Town Hall that we hosted here on Saturday. I want to thank all of the participants, specifically our partners at Washtenaw County. And I also want to thank staff, Danica, Dan, Elle, and Chris, and Chief Radzik, Marlene, for taking time out of their Saturdays to be here. I was also joined by a number of my council colleagues, including council members Gearbaugh and Harmont, along with two council members-elect, Mr. Helsch and Mr. Delorco. The event was well attended, and I hope it was informative and helpful to the residents of Thorncrest. The city manager, myself, the deputy city manager, councilmember-elect Helsch, along with County Commissioner Beeman and Derek Jackson from the Washtenaw County Equity Office, canvassed the entire neighborhood of Thorncrest on Thursday, inviting folks to attend Saturday's meeting and also leaving them information if they were unable to participate. If I'm not mistaken, City Manager Swallow will also have a one-page fact sheet that will be disseminated online and on our social media pages later this week, and we would encourage council members to disseminate that as well. And then last, we're getting to that time of the year where we're actively seeking applications for board and commission appointments from private citizens. So if you're interested in any of our boards and committees, please reach out to my office or any of my council colleagues, or more specifically the city clerk who has the application. Board and commission appointments are done in January. We're always looking for good, passionate people to serve on a variety of committees, including parks, environmental, planning, ZBA, et cetera. So take a look at the list, and if you have some time and interest, we would love for you to serve. Last item is we're going to briefly revisit the Rec Center Task Force recommendations that were presented about a month back. City Manager Swallow, would you like to begin?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Council, and obviously Director Lambert's here as well to help assist in kind of an update of what we've been working on. But as the council will recall, the Recreation Task Force recommendation included several parts, with some of the initial occurring in the immediate time frame, as well as those that are spread out over a number of months. And I want to focus on just what was projected in the first 6 months. So the immediate measures in the recommendations included some cost-cutting measures. For example, one of the things that's already being implemented is elimination of some of our printed brochures and going to more electronic or online brochures. The other component that was more for immediate enhancements of the facility, making small investments in the facility, and they've already applied for a grant for some new lobby furnishings to make that more of a gathering space. The other item included new program offerings, including various program enhancements, and for example, they're already implementing some new packages for personal training options at the facility. Next on the list was membership improvements and ways to increase memberships at the facility. There will be a new membership drive coming up on December 14th, so there's already initiatives to try and increase outreach to the community for those increased memberships and trying to get our membership levels back a little closer to what they were prior to the pandemic. Second part, the first 6 months involved potential partners and reaching out to our potential partners as far as more of a regional approach to the center and trying to regionalize also the funding approach to the recreation center. So we have had preliminary meetings with the Saline area schools, Pittsfield Township, and Washtenaw County. no formal financial commitments at this point, but I think there was a very good discussion as well as some new ideas that came out of that. Just one example is, at the county, we talked about they could potentially assist us with financing if we got to the point of capital improvements and things of that nature. And when I say finance assistance, they help sponsor a bond or something of that nature to help with that. So there are some ideas that came out of that. The next steps coming forward are formal consideration of the recommendation. We want to bring that forward to you at your December 1st meeting. And then we've talked about probably doing some follow-up. Obviously, this is going to be a long-term process over 6+ months, up to 18 months. Looking at a update in about 60 days, potentially having a work meeting with council in February.
Yeah, very good. If I may, and then I'll turn it over to Councilmember Lesh. The city manager and I spoke today, and I thought it would be advantageous to revisit all of these issues and get an update from staff and any and all stakeholders in about 60 days. So I was recommending either the first or second meeting in February, which our meetings are back-to-back because of the holiday. So that would be on either the 2nd or the 9th. I believe we'll also be meeting later this week, because there is some desire, based on conversations I've had with both the city manager and deputy city manager, of continuing to involve some members of our rec center task force into a new advisory panel and tasking them with certain responsibilities. So we'll be discussing that on Thursday and possibly coming to you with a recommendation for appointments at our first or second meeting in December. Councilmember Lesh, any additional questions at this time, noting, of course, that a formal motion may be considered at our first or second meeting in December?
Nope, I just appreciate all the added work you guys are doing. So.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Dillon.
As far as 60 days is a long time. We're in the midst of budgeting right now and, starting that process. So I'd like to have a clearer understanding of the funding source going into the next fiscal year. So I think that this body needs to have a clearer, more precise understanding of these potential partnerships and what's being brought to the table. As far as with the county partnering with us on bonds, that's wonderful, except we still need the funds to pay the bonds. And we need to kind of understand, is this something that we are going out for a millage? Because there's a lot of pieces to figure out in the, moving forward. And so I wish that we could accelerate that. I think 60 days is too long at this point.
I think that unfortunately we will not have final commitments from any of our potential partners prior to the next fiscal year budget. I know we talked about that probably the funding won't come in the next fiscal year.
And so at what point are we going to discuss what is going to have to be cut out of the general budget to compensate for the rec center? Because the number just keeps getting higher, and so we're going to have to find offsets. We've done some very, some minor things here trying to do membership. Every year we talk about the membership improvement. We're going to do a membership drive, things like that. And our numbers are slowly getting there, and I appreciate the efforts. It's just not going to be enough to pay the bills. And so kind of understanding where we're going to find a sustainable funding source in the near term, I think needs to be priority one.
Councilmember Gearbaugh?
I'm fine that you're moving ahead on some of these things, but again, I was hearing some feedback that the schools weren't that supportive in us in terms of moving for a millage. So my bigger concern that we recently had the draft meeting for the audit, and the rec center was approximately $700,000 in the hole before the contribution from fund balance to offset the cost of debt service, leaving only approximately $98,000 for debt service for next year. So we need to start doing something now. And I'm going to continue moving on that comment and that statement. The one thing you had mentioned about reducing the cost by not producing brochures, you had mentioned in your weekly memo approximately 2 weeks ago that they were still going to produce 5,000 brochures for the school. Was that part of the cut, or is that something separate?
That's a separate program guide that is going to the electronic, but they're still producing flyers for the schools to distribute. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So in the past, we have printed, I think it was about 14,000 brochures plus the cost of mailing. So we're going to save on those costs of going through the postal service. we still need to advertise our programs. You know, we don't want to risk not getting the word out. So a creative way that we can do that is to work with Saline area schools. We can get those program guides out through pre-K through 6th grade at no cost. So we can directly drop them off. They go into the kids' backpacks. They take those home. And then we also plan on getting those hard copies out around town. Not everybody accesses, you know, we do have we have a very diverse population of users at the rec center. Some people are pretty tech savvy. Other people maybe are not as familiar. They still like that hard copy. So from talking to some of our other colleagues and other departments throughout the state, for those who have gone away from mailings, they still like to have brochures on hand so that they can hand those out.
That's it for me.
Councilmember Rice?
My only request is that, as a member of the Rec Center Task Force and all the work that I put into it, if we could discuss this in the second meeting in December, as I will be out the first meeting in December. So that's my only request. If we can make that happen, that'd be great. If not, I can just provide my 2 cents prior to that.
Fair enough. And I assume, City Manager, per Mr. Gearbaugh's comments or anyone else, if people have specific ideas on how we could save money or streamline operations, you would welcome those at any time.
Absolutely, and certainly as we put back together the implementation team for the Recreation Task Force, we'll be tapping those groups as well.
Very good. If there's nothing further then to be brought up during the discussion portion of tonight's agenda, we will proceed with the second and final public comment period. Under the Open Meetings Act, any person may come forward and make comment to City Council. This public comment period will be limited to 3 minutes per person. Those wishing to speak are requested, but of course not required to state their name and address for the record. Please note, Council will not be answering questions during this public comment period. Are there any citizen comments? Again, you'll have 3 minutes once you begin. We appreciate everyone's attendance this evening. Let me defer to the city clerk. Did we receive any written comments in advance of tonight's meeting in which the individual wanted their remarks read at this time? Yes. Easy enough. Well, I wish everybody a blessed Thanksgiving, and the chair would be happy to entertain a motion to adjourn at 7:30.
So
Moved by Dillon, seconded by Gearbaugh to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Next meeting's on December 1st. Thank you all.